Hey crew, I could not be more excited about this stretch we're about to do for the hips. I went for a long run yesterday and this is exactly what I need, and I neglected yesterday because your trainer isn't perfect either. So stretching the hips is not just great if you're running or cycling, but it's also great for sitting. So I want you to just think about your hip crease for a second, you know, this crease here. When we sit down, this area contracts and it causes the muscles to shrink up, to tighten. So that is often why sometimes we have posture like this. This is often why this area feels so tight. It just happens to be how we move our bodies. We sit a lot. It's the nature of a lot of our work. And when we decide to move, sometimes we're only moving in this very forward, rigid motion. Running, walking, cycling, these things don't really help this area so much. So we're gonna give it some love. Okay, now I'm gonna have you, if you have a mat, great. If you need some cushion under your knees, make sure you have a towel or a pillow or can fold your mat over, okay? We're gonna start in a forward fold, so go ahead, reach the arms up and exhale, fold. Right here, grab opposite elbow. All right, crew, so you're in for about a 10-minute stretch today. Nothing crazy, just enough time to get into some of these juicy stretches. So right here, you're just rocking side to side. You're letting the hamstrings wake up a little bit, the spine, the neck. Maybe you bounce a bit with this. Warm up those areas of your body. Good. For 3, 2, 1. Release the hands to the ground, a little flat back. Inhale up. And exhale, release. Good. Inhale up, maybe straighten the legs. Exhale, release, soften. Inhale up. Exhale. One more time. Exhale, release. Inhale, flat back. Look forward, walk those hands out, feet back, downward facing dog. Good. All right, pedal out the feet, maybe shake the hips from side to side. So really a good wag of the tail here. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, so we're gonna go into a series of these hip stretches. The first one is a pretty gentle runner's lunge, and then you have the option to keep building off of it. We'll go to lizard, we'll go to pigeon, but if any of them don't feel good, then you can come back to this base. This runner's lunge is a really good spot for you. Look forward, step the right foot, drop the back knee. So this is what I was talking about. If you need some padding under your knee, great place for it. If you have yoga blocks you want to put your hands on top of, also great. Mine are conveniently over there. But also being on your fingertips, a-okay. And I want you to notice the imbalance you feel in your hips. A lot of us favor one leg over the other. If you happen to do a lot of cycling, you probably have a power leg. Running, you probably have a power leg. And just the way we sit, sometimes, you know, always crossing the same leg, sitting more on one hip than the other because it's comfortable. Our body tends to get used to it, and it just causes these imbalances that can cause problems, but more often than not, they're just something to be aware of and just cognizant of. You just don't want to push it too far. So instead of trying to mirror, I've said this many times, but instead of mirroring the positions or the stretches, the poses on both sides of the body, I want you to think about how they feel. So mirroring how they feel instead of mirroring how they look. So right here, I'm pretty comfortable on this side. I can get both hands almost on the ground, but I know that if my left leg is forward, that's not the case. It's much tighter. And yeah, so maybe you just kind of think about this stuff as you're sitting, as you're, you know, going about your day. Are you favoring one side over the other? Take one more breath in. Good. Exhale, ease up. Find tabletop position. So just swing that leg around and then kick it up, downward facing dog. Look forward, step that left foot. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Awesome. All right, so here we are again on the other side. And maybe, like me, you feel a little bit tighter on this side. Maybe it's easier. What I don't want you to do is sink into the shoulders, into the neck. I want you to try to keep your chest pretty proud. And of course, this is a hip stretch. So think about the hips. Acknowledge the sensation through there. Deep breath in. Breath out. Seeing if you can get a little bit deeper in the stretch as you breathe. So for this one, this is just a little wake up for the hips. The next two stretches are going to be a little bit deeper and more intense. And that's when your breath is really going to come into play. Right here, we're just acknowledging, hey, my left hip is tighter than my right, or vice versa. So there's some stretching going on through the right hip here. Yeah, but there's also this bending happening through the left. So it really just depends on your habits throughout the day, of the exercises you do, where it's going to feel a little tighter. Good. When we come back to downward facing dog, going through tabletop, and then kick it on up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. All right, so for lizard lunge, the right foot is going to come outside the right hand. When it goes there, the toes are going to turn to 1 o'clock. So go ahead, step that foot forward outside the hand. Turn the toes to 1 o'clock. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. All right, so now it's going to feel a little bit more intense. So what felt maybe more intense through the left hip, the front of the left hip last time, you might feel it a bit more through the right hip this time. Maybe it's intense everywhere all the time. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And if you are very flexible, maybe you bring your forearms to the ground, but because this is a pretty quick one, we didn't warm up so much. Maybe you did. Maybe you went for a run before this, but odds are it's pretty tight, so don't push it. Just breathe. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can continue to go through tabletop, so the knee will come back first and then go up to downward dog. Or maybe you tuck the back toes, lift the knee, bring it right back, downward facing dog. Left side. Toes go to 11 o'clock, drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Good. It's the same thing. Don't sink into the shoulders. Press through the hands. Good. Look forward. Soften the elbows a bit. And if you do have yoga blocks or a pillow, something nearby you can grab for your pigeon, that would be awesome to have. Especially if you're not warm, you didn't warm up in some way before this, then your pigeon is going to probably feel a bit tighter than it would if we had done, a 40-minute yoga flow before this. We're going to make our way back, find downward facing dog. So now with pigeon, right knee will come to right wrist. And we'll just drop into it. So right knee, right wrist. Left leg goes back. Left leg is lined up with the edge of your mat. So those two things are parallel. The right foot can maybe wiggle its way a little bit closer to the left wrist. And if you've got the yoga block or pillow, it's going to go underneath this right butt cheek, okay? What we want is for the hips to be level. We don't want that left hip sinking lower than the right. You're going to come down to your forearms, and maybe this is as far as you go. We're not here very long. I would love to be here for 5 minutes, but we are only here for a minute or so. Relax the head, relax the jaw. Some of you will be able to get your head on the ground. But again, you don't need to push it because this is just a 10-minute stretch. This is just to say, hey hips, I acknowledge you. I appreciate you. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Awesome job. Nice and easy. You're going to bring yourself up. If you want to stay longer, stay longer. And you'll add a little bit more time onto the end of this stretch. Tuck the back toes. Find your way back to downward facing dog. Take a moment and just acknowledge, slipping, how you feel. And then left knee, left wrist. Sliding that right leg back, untucking the toes, seeing that that leg is lined up with the edge of the mat. Drop down. And take your time. If you're still on the other side, enjoy it. You'll make your way here and it'll feel great. Yeah, always when I'm teaching a stretch or a yoga class, I love to just relax, but sometimes then I forget that I'm supposed to be telling you what to do because it just feels so nice to be here. So I'm going to stay up and alert, but if you can rest your head, go ahead, rest your head on your hands on the mat. We're coming up on our 10-minute mark here. When we come out of this pigeon, this side, all you're going to do is fall onto that left butt cheek. Not now, not yet. And swing your other leg around, and we'll end in a seated butterfly. Just so you know where we're going. And for those of you that decided to take a little bit more time, you'll see what's up, you'll see what to do, and you just go there when you're ready. For those of you with me, go ahead, press yourself upright, fall onto that left butt cheek, swing that right leg around, finding butterfly. Awesome work. So this is where we're going to end. You can stay here for as long as you would like, just opening up the hips. Keep the chest open, the shoulders down, maybe inching yourself forward. And I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for joining me, crew. I'm Emily, and I'll see you next time.